When Fields came to me to do this, I said, I'm not Bert or Harry. I'm Jimmy Breslin, a writer. But beer is a subject that's not exactly unknown to me. So I tried one. I liked it. It's good beer. I tried another. It's better than good. It's a good drinking beer. That's how I describe Fields. It's a good drinking beer.
Fields, it's a good drinking beer.
Headache in a bottle.
Better drinking beer.
Hello again. It's the Music Relish show again. Episode number 68.
And I'm fucking malt liquor. Come on.
Perry Pilsner, Louis Lager, and Mark Malt Liquor.
Oh, great. Old English 500.
Hello out there. Oh, wait. Let me get my ukulele out. Wait.
Yeah.
Hello again. The Music Relish show again. Number 68 again.
Hello, my friends. Hello.
Hello out there. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, Lou. Hello, Mark.
Hello, young man.
We're going to cover a lot of ground tonight. We're going to talk about garage rock.
Yeah.
Right, Lou? Garage rock.
Garage rock. Proto.
That's a category in and of itself. I mean,
one of the best categories. One of my favorite categories.
I assume you guys have channels devoted to it, right?
Right? Stevens Underground Garage on a series.
Yeah.
And we have, well, as far as stations and things like that, we'll talk about one from New Jersey.
Yeah, okay. And we're also going to talk about Laura Nyro, the late, great Laura Nyro, songwriter. We're going to listen to some samples of some of the songs she wrote, that some of her own, some have been covered by other people. We have lots of trivia, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of trivia.
Getting it ready.
Trivia.
We have random relish. We have newsfeed stories and all sorts of things going on. Yep.
We're just full of it tonight.
We're so full of it, it's coming out of our ears, right?
That's right.
Story of my life.
How about we start with some newsfeed stories, everything that pops up on our laptops, right? And music related, of course, right? Mark, anything?
Yes, well, the Transportation Planning Committee of Manhattan, Board Number 4, is meeting to rename the West 23rd Street and 8th Avenue corner as Kiss Boulevard or Kiss Street. They want to name it after Kiss because that's where Dressed to Kill was photographed. And I want to know if they do put that up, will it have the Kiss lettering like on the albums? I wonder if it'll be like the logo.
Probably.
How high are they going to put it so it can't be stolen?
Yeah.
They're going to oil it every night.
Yeah.
Oil the pole.
Exactly. So what is this? This is where they grew up, or is this where they started?
It's where they took the photograph for the cover of Dressed to Kill. Their third
album.
Really? Yeah. I think that's kind of cool, though.
I had that record.
Sure.
But I was 14 years old. You know what I mean? Like
that was
room
the most
service, baby. I could use a meal.
That was the most rushed Kiss album before they got famous because Casablanca was basically going out of business. And I even heard that they lengthened the gaps between songs to try to make the album longer. That was a real rush affair.
Well, the Casablanca the biggest hits were Kiss and Donna Summer. Kept the label afloat, right?
Donna Summer was huge. Our friend Satminder Singh sent me a Kiss. It was a concert made, like an in-concert thing, just them in a studio, but it was really good. I guess that was probably them. I've seen them at their best, but I was like, oh, okay. So I was impressed.
Yeah,
Peter
cool.
Was tight.
They were good back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know the show though. But.
I'm not sure if I mentioned this the other week. It came up on my newsfeed about this Tom Petty celebration. Did I mention that?
No, a tribute.
Yeah, I guess it's an album that's coming out. It's called the Country Music Celebration of Tom Petty. Dolly Parton's there, Willie Nelson, Chris Stapleton, people like that, Steve Earle. It's getting released in June.
Cool.
Nice.
But also on my feed came up, it said 5 records that were done in just one take. And apparently Elvis was in the studio and he's playing "That's All Right, Mama," his way, and Sam Phillips must have said, "Hold on, do that again. Let me turn the tape on," and that was it, one take, and that's what the record was. Yeah.
So is James Burton on that? Is that
no? Scotty Moore, I think was yeah. But apparently Kim Carnes, Betty Davis Eyes, she sang it first take.
Really?
Yeah.
It sounds like that's all she had in her.
Maybe it might have been like like the Twist and Shout, right?
Yeah.
2:00 in the morning, they just recorded 8 songs, right?
12 hours,
and John Lennon's throat is sounds shredded, but that's what we heard on the record. Apparently, the Kingsmen, Louie, that's a first take too.
Okay.
Yeah.
The drumming sounds like, because it's so wacky. Unless he just repeated that word, this crazy drum fill is almost out of time.
Yeah, and apparently another first take was this song from 1979 called "Escape," the Pina Colada song.
Wow.
Love that song, don't we?
You know something? That's a tricky rhythm. Whether you love it or hate the song, if you listen, it's not a straight ahead song. I don't know who played on it.
I don't know. I'm sure some big session guys played on it.
Sure.
Yeah. Mark, anything else?
Good for them. They did that in one take.
Yeah.
Thank you. Goodbye.
And, it's kind of cool. Earlier this week, Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, he's doing a solo tour.
Yep.
And he's doing shows at the Whiskey A Go-Go. So he added 2 last-minute shows, and when they went on sale that morning, fans lined up, and when they raised the box office window, it was Bruce selling the tickets himself. I think that's pretty cool. It's going all over social media. Neat. Can you imagine if I saw Paul Weller and he's like, "Here's your bloody ticket."
It's all over TikTok.
Here's your cheap seats, you prick.
We won't say the C word. Get out of here.
That's one of his favorites.
Speaking of Paul Weller, tickets went on sale for his show at the Red Bank Count Basie Theater. Oh, wow. I missed the day it went on sale. They sold out in an hour. I couldn't get my ticket.
He's playing in America, in New Jersey.
Yeah, he's
in
playing
the city of my birth.
He plays so infrequently in this country, and don't forget he has his new albums being released 66 on his 66th birthday.
Wow. Yep, I'm so bummed. I was
pretty cool. He's playing a theater in New Jersey.
Yeah, which is I would much rather have seen him there. Last time I saw him, it was Town Hall, which is just a pain in the ass to get to in Manhattan.
Right.
I'd rather
he's Paul Weller. He's not going to say, "I'm going to try and sell out the Garden." Like, no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm a theater guy.
He likes theaters. Yeah, definitely.
Theater
How about you, Lou? Anything else?
Hands? You mean like Jazz Hands theater guy?
Yes. Anything else happening?
I don't have any news.
I got some sad news for you, Perry.
Whatever happened to Hall & Oates?
I was going to just say that. That's part of. I got a news feed on that.
Oh.
John Oates has officially said that Hall & Oates are finished. I've moved on. He wishes no ill will towards Daryl Hall. He says he's a great guy, great songwriter, but he's done. He realized during the lockdown that life wasn't just touring on jet airlines. He's actually started a few foundations. I think he just wants to live his final years.
Yeah, man.
He's
in his 70s. He doesn't have to prove anything.
Right.
Kind of put a little
you play for fun. You have a Daryl's house.
Yeah.
You have a John's house.
I don't know if he's going to light any fires.
I heard, I saw a concert of his about a year ago. I saw a concert of John Oates. Like, he's a real Americana, almost bluesy, he loves that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of his solo albums recently was, I think it was called Americana or something like that.
Oh, yeah?
Actually took the title, yeah.
Cool.
Americana guy.
Well, I just want to say that this is the Music Relish show. It's a multimedia show for viewers and listeners alike. And the reason it's called Music Relish is because we relish music and movies.
I thought I was on Meet the Press. I'll see you later, guys.
So that's that's why Lou Colicchio and Mark Smith and myself, Perry Pilsner, are here. Yep. That's what we're here for.
Oh, come back. I don't need Meet the Press.
Every week.
Well, anyway, hey, Lou, how about
Meet the Press?
Meet the Press?
I think it's Meet the Press.
Beat the Beatles. Perry announced it was Music Relish. I thought it was Meet the Press. I thought I was on with.
Okay. Well,
I'm sorry.
Well, okay. I want to how about we go into this garage rock category, Lou.
Love to. Now, what I want to do before I rattle off some names is
All I really want to
I'm gonna read a little paragraph,
do.
if I can see it with my allergy eyes. So this is the Rolling Stone Encyclopedia of Rock and Roll. It is so old, it's just falling apart. But the section is called Proto-Punk, the Garage Bands, and it was by Lester Bangs, the great music critic, mentioned in song. What is more American than the garage band? Call up a bunch of your buddies, get some six-packs or some weed, or both.
Or both.
Plus a guitar or two, a bass or a drum kit, and you've got instant fantasies about instant stardom. So, of course, at certain times and places, fantasy and reality have intersected, and that is part of what rock and roll is all about. Just saying it's one of the most all-American of rock and roll forms. And I think everyone starts out as a garage band, kind of, don't you think? You know, when you're young,
Yes.
you're going to play somewhere unless,
Right.
unless you're those kids from Washington State, though, those brothers I was talking about, the Emerson boys, where their father just built them his studio.
Yeah.
Or you're the Strokes.
So some
and you play on-
acreage and
Or if you're from the Strokes and you play on the Upper West Side and your parents.
Very expensive garage. But yeah, it's sometimes it's been kind of melded in with frat rock, proto-punk, even like in elements of punk rock. I think a lot of garage rock eventually evolved into that, and also some of that evolved into kind of metal with bands like the MC5. They became kind of like a metalish early punk band as opposed to just garage, primitive garage music.
yeah.
So the origins of it are basically around California, the Pacific Northwest. And a lot of them were Mexican American bands too. I guess they're called Chicano bands, and they all just basically started primitive stuff. Fender guitars were very inexpensive, although others were used, and they started off with instrumentals. And like I said, everyone was a garage band. The T-shirt I'm wearing, Edenville was a garage band that we were in, and you and I wrote many songs for. So some names that just came up. It's also basically it's just guitars, drums, organ, 3 chords, real no virtuosity, although some of the songs, they're clever and creative. So some of the early stuff was some instrumentals, like up in California, or this was California. The Nomads, Cannibal and the Headhunters. Those were names I've seen forever. I didn't.
Yeah, they
band.
played at Shea Stadium opening for the Beatles.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Premiers, they had a song called Farmer John, which is basically a rewrite of Louie Louie. It had horns on it, which I said, that didn't seem garage bandish to me. Garage bands, guitars, drums, and bass. But they were on American Bandstand. Up in Portland, of course, I think one of the most famous ones were the Kingsmen. Known for Louie Louie, I don't think you said that was a one.
They were from Portland? Oregon, not
They
Maine.
were from Oregon. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know if it was Portland still, but Oregon.
Oregon.
The Sonics. I've heard them.
I have one on a garage rock compilation. The Sonics.
You do?
Are on there. Yeah.
Okay. And also, this band went on to become big. Paul Revere and the Raiders. So some of that early stuff, it's kind of primitive, just like me. Maybe a little
right. Yeah, that's garagey. Yeah.
I mean, better produced. Just because. There were. There's levels of talent and things too. So Paul Revere, they had a little more on the ball than say the Kingsmen, which were probably never intending to go anywhere, like the Trashmen. I think they were mentioned here too. I think they were from the Pacific Northwest. But so up and also in that area too, there was the Leaves. They were just called Leaves. They did one of the early versions of Hey Joe.
They did one of the early versions of Hey Joe, right?
Yeah. And then the one I heard after that was by the Byrds, which was totally different than Hendrix. The Standells that had the song Dirty Water, that was about Boston.
Yep.
They're not from Boston, as it turns out. Who knew?
Portland?
Portland, yeah. So then also like the California scene was a bit of a mix. Like the psychedelic movement came in. Things got a little more out there, but it's still the elements of it. And I think some of those psychedelic bands too have a little touch of garage in them. Like from Los Angeles, remember the Seeds? You're pushing too hard.
Yeah.
Pushing too hard on me.
Yep.
And from San Jose, there was a Syndicate of Sound. Little Girl. Hey, little girl. Hey, little girl in the tie. I thought that was a 50s song.
So that's it. That's all part of that genre.
That's all, yeah. But this was kind of more back to the California sound. There's a band called the Chocolate Watch Band, and you know the song Psychotic Reaction?
I can't think of it at the second.
Reaction. That was the Count 5. And they have a lot of well-known songs too.
Cool.
Chicago had The Shadows of Night with yet another cover of Gloria.
Yeah. Yep.
Michigan had Question Mark and the Mysterians. They were from Saginaw. They were Mexican Americans. And, 99 Tears, that is a staple. That's a classic. But it's real simple and it's kind of cheesy.
96 Tears.
Yeah. Question Mark. You're going to cry 96 tears.
Yep.
Dun, dun, dun,
And
dun, 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 dun.
band The Castaways. You know the song Liar, Liar? Liar, liar, pants on fire. That's not a girl singing falsetto. That's one of the guys in the band. And also from Michigan, there was the Swinging Medallions with a double shot of My Baby's Love. I sent you that video last day. Yeah, I really had the swinging brush holes. Did you guys watch that video I sent you?
No.
I sent it last night. And check it out when you see it. It's early. It's got dancing. It's almost risque. I forget. I don't know what year it came out. It was early on. But there's girls dancing, and it's a little dark. It's interesting. It's almost noirish.
Cool. Why? That was part of garage rock.
It's all garage rock, man.
Garage rock.
Apparently, Lester Bangs said that nothing that I mentioned is really on the East Coast, and he had nothing good to say about garage bands on the East Coast. He said they basically either end up sounding like the Fugs or the Velvets. So, that was his estimation. So Boston had the Remains and a band called the Barbarians. What do you got? Oh,
That is the Swinging Medallions.
that's the song.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Good
Well,
dance.
that got a lot of airplay.
Huge. That's it's an oldies channel thing, but so's 99 Tears.
Yeah.
But just
96 Tears.
Oh, I forgot to mention a band from San Jose when I was mentioning the Count Five. Ever hear of a band called the Gollywogs?
Yeah,
Yes.
they became Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Yes, they did.
Yep.
So I guess that
name was
one
chosen
percent,
for them, by the way. They didn't
Right.
pick that name. Yeah,
right.
they couldn't control it.
So the Barbarians were known for their drummer. His name was Multy, Moulty. His name was Victor Moulton.
Mm-hmm.
He lost his left hand in a fireworks accident as a kid.
You mentioned this in the past. There was a one-armed drummer or something.
Yeah,
right?
well, he used his hook like a drumstick, and he held it. But there's videos of him playing drum solos. It's pretty amazing. I mean, I don't know how he does it. I don't know if there's another mechanism in this thing, and this is,
So before the age of drum machines, where Rick Allen had a little assistance.
before the Bionic Man.
Yeah.
But so he played. He used this hand as a drumstick. But I was watching to see if it was all just right hand stuff he was doing, but it's not. So he actually managed to work with his handicap.
Wow.
But he had a song, one of their songs, I think they might have cracked the top 40. It was a song called Multi, kind of his little story. And I'm going to play about 15 seconds of it, although if we get shut down for this, who knows? So let's see.
Keep it under 15, we'll be fine.
Get blocked, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty obscure. Here we go.
What could possibly happen?
I remember the days when things were real bad for me.
You turn it up?
It was right after my accident, when I lost my hand. It seemed like I was all alone. with
That's
nobody to help
garage
me.
rock?
I almost gave up all my hopes and dreams. But then something inside me kept telling me, way down inside me, over and over again, keep going on. Yeah, on.
Can't patent three chords.
Right? I mean,
Can't patent three progression.
no,
What was the
'cause
name
if
of
you
that
did, there'd be a
drummer, Lou?
lawsuit there.
What was the name of that drummer?
Victor Moulton.
Victor Olson. Okay.
They had a hit with a song called "Are You a Boy or Are You a Girl?" It's pretty well. It was pretty risque stuff back then,
Precursor to Pete Townsend.
right? I'm a boy. I'm a boy. But I do love garage rock. In fact, I think our opening song, I was the first. I think that qualifies as garage rock. What do you think?
Yeah,
Bryce?
that's garage rock. Yeah.
Damn right.
Yeah.
So there's horn samples on the whole version, but then if that Swinging Medallions or whoever, if they could use horns,
Yeah,
then,
well, that was today. We had the beer intro, right? So it was
That's
Louis
right.
Lager, Perry Pilsner, and Mark Maltlick. The only thing I can think of with an M.
I do nothing but lick malts all day. I'm a malt licker.
his old Irish 800. That's his brand or whatever.
I want to ask you your opinion on something then, because we know the sound generally of garage rock. obviously they didn't play in a garage, but would you consider them kind of a garage rock type band? I would.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
The sound,
It's
yeah,
not
it's a
necessarily
sound.
The garage became a bigger term, like because it's it's almost like a cliche that they're practicing the garage because that's what you did, or maybe in the basement,
or a basement band. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that became something. It's primitive. It's not complicated.
Yeah.
In that sense,
Yeah.
it's almost. I mean, I always associate some kind of
couple of chords,
amateurishness about it.
Usually like one hit, maybe like there are a lot of, what I mean? There's not, right.
In England, it was basically community centers and church basements that these bands played. When I worked at CPI,
one of the best is cab room. Yeah, little get a little something there.
Yeah, right.
What do you mean?
When I worked
that was the Beatles. Pete's best mother had an affair with the teenage Neil Aspinall and had a child.
Yeah, it was so good he couldn't play in time. When I worked at CPI in the 90s, there was a revival of there were bands trying to sound like garage rock. And Tang Records, we did all their CDs. Tang had the Lemonheads before they got signed to a major label.
Well, even some of that stuff, it's simple pop. I think that the first Foo Fighters song, when it was just Dave Grohl, that first single, I can't, my Big Head, Mr. Big Head, whatever it's called, that poppy song. Yeah, that's garage rock to me because it is. Plus, it's very lo-fi, almost lo-fi, and
So I one thing with Tang, it was neat is that they went for the lo-fi, but it sounded good. That was my kind of because I didn't know much about garage rock. I knew the big songs, so I was mastering. I'm here. I'm like, this shit sounds like shit, but I love it.
Right, right.
And then some of these bands had Hammond organ players in them, and I love the sound of garage rock with a distorted Hammond organ. That was really
or a Vox organ, like 96 Tears.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what kind of organ it is, but it sounds cool.
Yeah, it does. It's cheesy.
Yeah.
Apparently on our Yamaha keyboards, there's an organ setting called Cheese, CHEEZ.
Really? Is that a Farfisa?
It's almost like the
it's a Fender Rhodes. Don't go changing. No, giant please me. Is it that sound?
Or is it to Donald Fagen?
No, it's more garage. It's almost like that song Telstar.
One of those early mentals, right?
Yeah. So it's garagey. I used it on my song Garden Tub, the instrumental. That's cheese organ on it.
Cool.
Cheese. Yeah. So let me see.
American cheese.
I'm going to throw out some names here of bands that were considered garage rock, and maybe you can tell me if you've heard of them. Well, some people consider this is obvious. Some critics have said La Bamba might be the first garage rock song, but that was.
I don't agree with that, but I've heard of them. Yeah.
Okay. Link Ray, garagey.
Yeah. I would think Rumble is garagey. Yeah, absolutely.
Heavy too.
Heavy.
Music to beat the shit out of somebody by.
Dark sounding. The Trashmen.
Mow.
I think it's garbage can rock.
It's studio creation. It sounds like these DJs that. It sounds like these DJs that made these little hit records. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess garage could be novelty in a lot of ways, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
But have you ever heard any of
What's that?
Have you ever heard the Trashmen's album? No.
I like the early stuff better though. Well, I went flat. Okay, how about this one?
I'm sorry, I'm researching.
You guys were drinking. It was a bad joke. The Rivieras. You know their big song?
Sure, I know that one. Yeah. Yep. California Sun or something, right? Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's got that Buddy Holly. Any kind of rolling drums in your ear.
I guess that would fall to that genre. Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know where this band is from actually. The Trogs. I mean, Wild Thing is about as garage as it gets.
Yeah, aren't they? Yeah.
They're British.
Yeah.
So it's garage rock.
They're a garage band, and they come from garage land.
They sit in the boot in the car.
I believe. I always thought they were British. Trogs.
The Trogs. Well, yeah. Well, they did the Bobby Kennedy Wild Thing tribute. I mean,
Bobby Kennedy. What?
Wild Thing. I think I love you. Remember, there's a parody. It was in '68. It's someone doing Bobby Kennedy. This I think it came out in '68, where he's doing.
I
think I love you. Wild thing.
Let's drive over a bridge.
Who else is considered garage rock?
Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs.
Yeah, I would go with that too. Yeah,
Willie Bully. I think that's a great name.
That's
though.
a great friggin' song, man.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And the drumming, for the time, the stuff's pretty heavy, man.
Yeah, there's a clip out there you can find of them playing it live, by the way. And they were really good. Yeah.
Right.
Had a saxophone player too, I believe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's the sax all over that song, right?
Yep.
How about the McCoys?
Well,
I just know "Hang On, Sloopy," and that's Papa. I don't know much about them.
Yeah, I wouldn't categorize that as garage rock, but okay, cool. But I know who they are.
We've spoken about Bang Records, right? They've come up many times.
Yeah.
The McCoys were on Bang Records. Do we know who owned that, or was that?
Yeah. Yep. Neil Diamond was on Bang Records also. Okay. Yeah, I covered that in one of the old shows. Right. Yep.
That's where I look familiar. The Count Five with the song "Psychotic Reaction." Great name for a song. Bam, bam, bam. It's great. Great instrumentation.
Yep.
Question Mark and the Mysterians. They came up. Music Machine. A song called "Talk Talk." I was going to cue that up.
Really?
Yeah. I thought Syndicate of Sound was one of those bands that opened up for the Beatles. But it would take too long to bring that up. Paul Revere and the Raiders. I mean, but, they went from that to Cherokee People, but I think some of the early stuff, just like me, the stuff that was in the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood soundtrack, kind of garagey.
Yeah.
The Chocolate Watch Band. I mean, they
that's a funny name. The Chocolate Watch Band.
Richard Manuel was in that band before the band, I think, right?
Oh, they were Canadian.
Yeah, right. The Gollywogs I mentioned, the Seeds, the Barbarians, of course, with the drummer Multi, he of the hook hand. The Nomads, Cannibal, and the Headhunters. That's a great name too.
Yep.
The Kingsmen, the Sonics, Lees, Standells. We mentioned Swinging Medallions. And these bands were influential on a lot of people, including me.
Sure.
You, everyone. The Ace of Cups. They were an all-girl garage band.
Really?
Yeah. I heard people say it's more of a, not psychedelic, this is more of a rock band, but they were on some of those bands, Bills with the Band, on those Winterland concert posters. I've seen Ace of Cups on there. The Blues Magoos.
The Blues Magoos. Yeah, what was their song?
It was a big hit. It was a big hit.
It got a lot of radio play. The Blues Magoos. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I've been listening to it all week, but I'm drawing a blank. This is just a great name. I couldn't find anything on the old ones. I guess there's a new band, or maybe they've carried on into the 2000s. But it was the Druids of Stonehenge.
What a great name!
That's a great name.
The Druids of Stonehenge.
But I went to Spotify and I heard this modern thing. It was almost metal. I'm like, unless these guys are still doing it in their 70s, but it didn't sound remotely garagey.
I bet you that band Queens of the Stone Age kind of like took a little thing from that, right?
It's very Spinal. It could be a Spinal Tap song. The Druids of Stonehenge.
Blues Magoos, We Ain't Got Nothing Yet, and Tobacco Road were there.
We ain't got nothing.
Tobacco, that's it. Yeah. Tobacco Road is a lot of people recorded Tobacco Road.
They had a hit with it though.
Yeah.
In fact, you were the first one I think to have a hit.
So did David Lee Roth.
Was it
David Lee Heineken?
Was it the Memphis Teens? Or did they do short shorts?
Well, that was that dude from New Jersey, wasn't it?
Bob Gaudio from the Four Seasons. No, but it was the Royal. He was in the Royal Teens.
Oh, okay.
I thought the Memphis Teens did an early version of.
That's garage.
Now, famously, who borrowed that riff for a song?
It's the riffs, man.
Oh no! They admitted they took it. Deep Purple, Black Knight.
Richie Blackmore did that a lot. He took that Smoke on the Water thing from that Brazilian singer, right? And,
I don't think that, but that definitely they live today. That was a hit when
that's
they were.
That's a great riff, though. Yep.
But their version of Tobacco Road is one of my favorites of all the versions I've heard.
Our guitar sounds great.
Yeah.
Very, very dirty sound.
Dirty boy.
Yeah, so that was garage rock, and
would you consider Freddie and the Dreamers to be garage rock?
Who?
The guy that did the dancing. No.
That's cheesy British rock, isn't it?
Mersey, British invasion.
Oh, they were British?
That's Mersey.
I thought they were
stuff.
American.
No, that's Mersey
no.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh.
They even choreographed themselves.
What's so cheesy about it? What's so cheesy about it?
Everything.
The classic jumping up in the air, taking the picture.
You want to bring Alan Swan to Brooklyn? What are you ashamed of? Everything.
Everything. No, those videos crack me up.
Excuse me.
But you know something? I can tap my foot to it.
Hey,
that last song especially. That, man, that's like. So if you're.
Do you know the little guitar line?
Yeah. There's a stop in there, right? And then it goes, Yep. So where do you find garage rock? If you're going to listen to garage rock, where do you go?
Well, there's on XM, there's Little Steven's Underground Garage. And anything else I do, I'm pretty much almost exclusively getting Spotify. I'm just having things assembled. Because of my searches through other things, they coalesce and they collate.
Yeah.
They curate a playlist for you. So I'm hearing things like, the Blues Magoos, the Count 5, all these garage bands that are popping up.
Yep.
Other 60s classics. And, it's, Louie is always going to be Louie.
Yes.
And that's good. And that's good enough.
Yep.
And also, Perry, you and I were on a garage rock program as musicians. So also on, Little Steven's Underground Garage on XM. Bill Kelly has a show. I think it's Saturdays at midnight or at 10 o'clock or something. But we were on his show, the Teenage Wasteland.
He used to have a show called Teenage Wasteland.
Teenage Wasteland, WFMU in New Jersey. So we had a song in there that we played on. We wrote, and I wrote it. You played on. No, you had a line. You wrote a line. You got the Nashville rule.
No, not me. No.
Yeah, you did. Your line was, every now and then I get this feeling inside.
Total Eclipse of the Heart.
But hey, it's the opening line. Hey, you don't want the money. Don't take it.
There was no money as far as I was told.
No. It turned out being a mistake that kind of worked out.
I was told a few things in the back.
That's garagey right there. That's garagey. That's a garage mentality, right?
Yeah. Although it was an upstairs of a house, but it was done with a It was almost all digital.
Yeah.
There was a digital drum kit with a vintage sound. That the organ was that Wurlitzer from the church. That beast we hold up 4 flights of stairs to get into my apartment.
Where is that Wurlitzer organ now?
When I moved in with Kara, Jim McKellar stored it for me, and then we just left.
Okay, well, it still exists somewhere. Then that Wurlitzer organ.
You couldn't take it to North Carolina.
This may interest you guys. If you go to Rat Tails Boston Rock and Roll, it's a Facebook page. There's a 48-minute interview with Victor Moulton.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, I don't go to Facebook, so.
Not Facebook. I meant YouTube. Sorry, YouTube.
Oh.
Rat Tails Boston Rock and Roll. That's the site. I'm going to listen to it.
But, I'm a fan of garage rock. Bill Kelly, in fact, on Teenage Wasteland, I used to listen to it every week. And he would play just obscure 45s, regional 45s from that came out of Texas or that came out of somewhere.
It wasn't all old stuff from 1966.
Right, but they're regional. This garage rock thing is regional too. Sure. Some made it nationally, some didn't, but they're cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're really cool songs.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very cool genre, I think. It's, and you don't have to be a virtuoso. It's not prog, but some of these guys can play.
Some of these guys are incredibly talented.
Yeah, but they've got it's a style. It is a true style, and
it absolutely is.
And probably not everyone can be that raw.
Yeah,
raw. Yep.
I like my fish raw.
Garage rock.
I do have a little trivia question. Well, not a trivia question, but it's a little fact, and I didn't know this until the other day. The song "Multi" with Victor Moulton, he used backup musicians, and the backup musicians were the band.
Wow.
That's the Hawks playing behind Moulton.
You mean the band?
The band. Not the Marshmallow Overcoat or the Chocolate Subway.
Those Canadians?
Those Canadians, yeah.
With Levon or with someone else?
With the Hawks. It was them.
Mick Jones or Mick...
No. They weren't on tour with Dylan, as far as I know. Cool. Well, that might be... Wait. I just heard the thing said Ronnie Hawkins' band, the Hawks.
The band.
So I don't know if
Levon was the first member to the first member of those guys to be with.
Yeah,
Levon was with the Hawks before the Canadian guys were, right?
Hold on. We got to be quiet because the professor's thinking. This is momentous.
I'm kind of curious. I'm going to be bummed out if Levon didn't play on it.
The professor, what, Mark?
Lou's the
doing,
professor,
man.
He's
Anybody can go to Wikipedia and get information. Doesn't mean you're a professor.
But Lou very rarely has to go
This
to
is true.
Wikipedia.
I usually do my homework.
He usually pulls it out of his ass.
Bummer. Wait. He blew his hand off when he was 14 with a pipe bomb.
With what?
A pipe bomb.
With a cleaver? Oh, a pipe bomb.
No, they put a cleaver on the end of it. Oh, come on. What is this? Wait. Multi was backed by the Hawks, later known as the band, who were currently working as Bob Dylan's support group. So maybe it wasn't Levon.
Okay, could have been Mickey Jones or
probably Mickey
somebody.
Jones. I mean, how long was Levon there for?
Well, once the booing started with Dylan, he couldn't.
Did he make it to Europe?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think he left before. I think he left after Forest Hills or something. Once they were getting booed,
Can you see this picture, by the way?
Thin-skinned baby.
Yeah, who is that?
Victor
Peter
Moulton
Gabriel?
with his hook. No, it's Victor Moulton with his hook.
Yeah.
He looks like a cross between Harry Dean Stanton and the guy on The Sopranos that got out of jail, came back, and
Richie
restarted.
April.
Yeah. He looks like,
Well,
I'm fascinated with this guy.
why don't we go into some random relish topics?
Before we're done, Mark, there's go to videos of him on YouTube playing the drums. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Multi.
Random relish topics. Apparently, I read that Robbie Robertson bought the name, the band. So he probably had to pay the other guys off, right?
Yeah.
He had the means to. So Robbie Robertson actually owned the name, the band.
Wow.
At a certain point.
I wonder what the price was.
Well, when the other guys are broke with no money and they can't pay their mortgage on their house in upstate New York, maybe,
I don't know. Two of them. And one of them would come into my father's bank, and they were instructed, do not give him his money in 20s because he was buying drugs on the street.
Yeah.
So they said, only give him hundreds.
But even still, I guess at that point, if you're that way or in that way, you'll do what you have to do. But yeah. I would think, like I said, I don't think he would rip them off. Here's $10,000 each for the band name, and then write songs like "Once We're Brothers" and stuff like that. I don't think that's we don't know. We'll never know, and it doesn't matter.
I've got another random things. Apparently, now we talked about Terry Melcher a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Terry Melcher had stated, I read this, that the most repugnant musician he has ever met in his whole life was David Crosby.
I believe
and this is from a guy who met Charles Manson. So, what is it with this guy, David, man, that just turned people off, man?
I hear he's just irritating. He's just, he must be just think everyone's stupid. Or I can just picture that he's a superiority complex.
He was on Howard Stern not long before he died, and he gave a 2.5-hour interview, and he was annoying. You heard him. But it was enjoyable too. You just couldn't be around the guy. Every day,
he knows he burned all the bridges behind. He knows that.
He knows it. Yeah.
But another thing too. Apparently, the Moody Blues. I read this. The Moody Blues are upset because they don't get the respect of these English prog bands. Sort of. When you think of English prog, people think Genesis, ELP, King Crimson, and Yes. They don't categorize the Moody, and they're upset by that. It's like, well,
are they prog or symphonic rock?
That's a good point, Lou.
Yeah,
I don't consider them prog, and even like Genesis, who were laid back at times, still had the powerful drumming when needed. I always, what? I always considered them to be a pop band with symphonic overtones because they wrote some great pop songs.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of their best songs were pop. Nothing wrong with that.
But so they're upset that they're not in the the conversation with that. Usually it's like with rock, it's Led Zeppelin, the Who, the Rolling Stones, right? And the Kinks even get into that category, but the Moody Blues don't make the conversation.
I think part of it too is that they were a pop band doing 3-minute singles, and then when they did Days of Future Past, that was considered almost a novelty by many people, and it was a big hit and it's a beautiful album, but it was kind of a novelty.
They're almost like
they did-
ELO in a sense. Where, ELO is
yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good comparison. Yeah.
I mean, I saw a documentary on Tubi, and actually here it's Tubi
About ELO or the
Tubi.
Moody Blues?
ELO, and they focused on the first era and album with Roy Wood.
Mm-hmm.
Shit was weird, man.
That dude was whacked, man.
He was
Roy Wood.
whacked.
He was out there.
He looked like Leon
Yeah.
Russell. I never saw that. But, like white hair and a beard. I don't know how old the guy was, but some weird stuff. So the other night, Louie and I were driving in the car. I had my Spotify. I had a random list on, and I heard this song. We're like, "What is that?" I said, "It sounds like Roy Wood," and it turned out it was.
Yeah. I have trouble with that first ELO album. I don't like it.
And there's a song. There's one of the videos. Is Jeff Lynne's doing some weird song. It's awful.
Yeah.
And even the guys doing the record are saying, we don't know what to make of this. But then from that period on, it was just,
Days of Future. I mean, sorry, Moody Blues. Some of their stuff was just way too esoteric for me. I tried to get into them, and some of it would just lose me, like the Ohm or whatever. It's like,
Yep.
It's just my personal opinion. I just don't get into them. Like
I have two favorite Moody Blues songs, and they were both written by the bass player, John Lodge. Just a singer in a rock and roll band.
Great song.
I like that one. I love the bass on that one too. You know,
wrote it, right?
John Lodge, the bass player, wrote that. He also wrote "Ride My Seesaw." Ride my seesaw, take a place. That's the bass player wrote
intro
that.
on that song. Great creepy
even
intro.
Nights in White Satin. Up until the poetry, was that Richard Harris or no? Was that a Graham Edge?
That's Justin Hayward. Yeah.
I think Graham Edge wrote that poetry though. The drummer.
Yeah.
I think he wrote the poetry section. But I mean, it's a great song. It's beautiful.
Well, Justin Hayward, he wrote Nights in White Satin. He wrote The Question. Remember that one? Well, do we never get an answer?
That's a good song.
That's a great song too. Like, think about that fast strumming in that song.
Yeah.
But with me, the Moody Blues are like, I mean, I had that comeback album they did in the 80s.
Right.
That was a good album.
You know,
Wildest Dreams is great. It's a great pop song.
That's a great 80s
song.
Just gonna bring that up. In the 80s, they had some great songs.
Short time for you and me.
Yeah.
And Justin Hayward also wrote Tuesday Afternoon.
Yeah.
With the big, jing, ching, 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 and the big pulsing guitar or whatever.
Very English. Very English.
Yeah.
Oh, I think their whole sound is very.
But they want to be in the conversation when it comes to these big English sort of moody bands.
So I go on the
Rock
prog.
and Roll Hall of Fame, though, are they?
They should be.
Yes, they are. I think they are.
They should be.
I think they are. Yep.
I go on the prog forums because you know me, I'm a prog head, and they have their fans, but they're always defensive and they argue. They'll be quick to argue with you if you say anything because no, like they'll say they're the best. It's like why are you being defensive?
Right.
You could tell me Emerson, Lake and Palmer sucks. I don't get mad. I don't care.
Yeah. It's. I don't knock people that like the Pina Colada song. Lisa, I worked with someone. She goes, I don't really like music all that much. I'm like,
what's wrong with you?
How could you? I mean, nothing. A jingle on a commercial, nothing jazzes you.
That's almost as bad as when I hang out with someone and they see me drink a whole regular bottle of wine. I call it a small bottle, and they go, "Wow, a bottle of wine lasts me 2 weeks. What's wrong with you?"
Well, the 750 is just that's Mark. You can drink those glasses like
that's
nothing.
4 glasses.
Right?
That's 4 glasses of wine.
It's 4 glasses of wine.
Yeah.
Also, if you don't store that thing properly, after the second day, the wine has just got too much air in it. So
white wine
drink
lasts,
drink it up. Unless you got the Vacuvin, you got this fancy Coravin
We used to have
$350 unit, which you can buy at Metro Wines.
We used to have one of those.
There's a shameless plug, Lou.
A shameless plug. I want them to sponsor us.
Mark? Have you got any random relish
shameless
topics?
Shameless music relish hair plug. Yes, I do.
There's a whore living in your building.
Scratching my foot right
got
now.
a whore. So Friday was the release day, and Amazon didn't screw it up. They actually got it to me on the release day.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Knopfler's new album.
Oh.
Now, Mark Knopfler settled into mediocrity. If you love him, you love him. If you don't like him, you're not going to like any of this stuff. I love him. It's kind of like where Dylan's going. If you don't like Dylan, he's not going to make any new fans. This album, it's called One Deep River. And it's the cover, and it's based on One Deep River is the Tyne River that runs through Newcastle on Tyne, and not what our friend Scott McLean mistakenly called him Newcastle on Time. Newcastle are never on time. It's on time. And Scott, it's okay to name a city on this, on that. I live in Pearl River on 304, okay? It's a very good album. The lyrics, the songs, he tells stories. The stories are wonderful. Each one has a unique theme to it. But the guitar playing is fantastic because he uses so many different kinds of guitars.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to why you said he just settled for mediocrity. What do you mean by that? Like,
that was a sarcastic statement. No, that was a sarcastic statement.
Okay.
A lot of people will say about Mark Knopfler, all his solo albums sound the same. They don't, and they do. He is a songwriter that he settled into a country bluegrass. I can't, old-fashioned rock and roll.
Right.
His voice is getting more and more like a cross between Leonard Cohen and Bob Dylan as he gets older, and I love it. I just love it.
Cool.
And so it's a acquired taste,
it's mature.
Yeah.
And also,
But his
he's
playing,
the kind of guy. I mean, he can't play bad.
yeah,
Right.
I know it's a very comfortable sound.
it is.
Which is fun. I mean, come on,
Where he really shines, aside from his playing, like I said, is the songwriting. There's a song on this one called "This One's Not Going to End Well," and it's about a slave ship leaving England for America, in the ocean. Songs, Black Tie Jobs is about reporters who have to interview people after disasters. I love his little stories and his songs. I just love them. The production is by Guy Ritchie, who used to play for Dire Straits, and he's produced quite a few of Mark Knopfler's albums. The drum sound on it is, the guy reminds me of Pick Withers.
Cool. Good drummer.
It's a very good drum sound. It sounds like you're really in the room. There's a nice ambience. I don't know what studio they recorded it in. Just so well done. You could smell the amplifier tubes when you listen to it and everything. And so I highly, if you are a Mark Knopfler go-to guy, this won't disappoint. It's a great album. If you find Mark Knopfler boring, do not buy it. You'll fall asleep.
Some people thought Dire Straits were boring. So
I did. I thought they were boring until I saw them live, and I became a fan. And I said, "Wow, they're great." But before that, I thought they were boring.
By the way, that guitar he used,
extremely laid back.
That guitar that he played on Money in MTV, that ain't working.
Yeah,
that Les Paul that he played sold for $686,000 or something ridiculous. Like,
it's going to go on the wall
because he played it.
Yeah. Well, it is a classic Les Paul, so that adds. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was in 1986 Les Paul reissue of a 1959 Les Paul.
Oh,
it wasn't a 59. It was a mid 80s Les Paul. Like Lou, you have a 62 reissue Telecaster
made in Japan.
Right, but it's not a 1962 Fender Telecaster. No, it's a reissue. That's what Knopfler had, but yet because he played it, somebody paid $700,000 for the thing.
It's going up on a wall.
How many guitars did he sell off?
Lots. It was a Christie's. You can find it up on YouTube, the Christie's auction. Type in Mark Knopfler Christie's auction, and you will see the ridiculous amount of money people are paying for these things. People on the phone,
Buy it now. Someone's bursting into an office saying, Mark Knopfler's, reissue 57 Les Paul. Buy it.
Well, I got to tell you, a couple of weeks ago, I watched this concert with Three Dog Night from 1972, maybe, or 3. I think it was in England they were playing. And I got to thinking, and I said, hold on. There's 3 guys with a band behind them. And then I thought of Crosby, Stills, and Nash. There's 3 guys with a band behind them also.
Right.
Now, we know the difference is the Three Dog Night, those guys didn't write the songs. Crosby, Stills, and Nash, we know they wrote the songs.
Right.
But I'm not talking about songs. I'm talking about 3 voices blending together.
Right. 3-part harmony.
And there's a huge difference in the way Three Dog Night did it from the way Crosby, Stills, and Nash did it.
Yeah.
Three Dog Night was very soulful when you think about it, right? With the way they punched, the way they did these vocal arrangements were really cool.
Yeah. I always thought they were just kind of a AM, almost middle of the road band when I was a kid. I didn't, was that Black and White? I just never liked that song.
Yeah, well, that was a cheesy one they chose.
But, the other stuff, like, Celebrate. A lot of stuff. I liked it, but I don't know. I don't know if I would call it. If I consider that rock and roll as a young kid back then.
Yeah, it was AM.
It was a producer's
I guess
band.
It falls under pop or whatever.
They were a producer's project, whereas Crosby, Stills, and Nash were more organic.
I watched it Theater Night. The guys, the instrumentation, that was a band. They were Theater Night was not just the singers. That was the band was a constant.
They were a good band. Yeah.
I was Floyd Sneed was the drummer. What a great name.
Yeah. Yep.
I love that name.
The singers were Danny Hutton, Corey Wells, and Chuck Negron.
Yeah.
Chuck
Who
Negron.
our friend John Scaffa knows.
So is it
by the way,
what was that?
What are you saying, Mark?
There's a rumor that his dick exploded. He had some kind of.
Just got to read his book. That's all. It's in the book. You know?
I don't want to read it. I've been injured there, man.
Oh, by the way,
I don't want to talk about it.
You know this actor, comedian? He passed away. Taylor Negron.
No.
He was in that Chevy Chase movie, Nothing But Trouble.
Really?
He was the Brazilianaire. Remember, like.
Oh, okay.
That's Chuck Negron's. Taylor Negron is Chuck Negron's cousin.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's Perry. I said our friend John Scaffa knows Chuck Negron. Remember that story?
Yeah, he told me the story.
Yeah.
Yep. Ever hear the Songwriters Hall of Fame?
That was just a shameless plug, by the way. Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Songwriters Hall of Fame is a Hall of Fame that really matters. I mean, there's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? $10,000 a ticket. Songwriter Hall of Fame was started in 1969. Mm-hmm. Started by Johnny Mercer.
Can't get better than that.
Right? A guy named
Played for the
Abe.
Yankees, did he?
What's that?
He played for the Yankees.
No. It's Bobby Mercer.
Johnny
Mercer, the songwriter.
Oh, Johnny Mercer.
You know? Abe Oldman and Howie Richmond. And currently the chairman or the chairperson of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame right now is Nile Rodgers.
A Songwriter Hall of Fame.
Songwriters Hall of Fame. Songwriters HUF. Johnny Mercer wrote Moon River, right?
Yeah.
He wrote Days of Wine and Roses.
Oh, I love that song.
Wow.
He wrote Hooray for Hollywood. So but the Songwriters Hall of Fame was started in 1969.
Yeah.
By Johnny Mercer and two others. Here's some notables.
One's a lawyer, no doubt.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. They could all be in the music business. Jeff Lynne was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2023.
Good.
Nile Rodgers. Roger Nichols, who was the songwriting partner of Paul Williams, right? It was, Bacharach David, Williams, and Nichols.
He was a lyricist.
Glenn Ballard is in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. You know who Glenn Ballard is?
He's the guy that did Alanis Morissette's record.
Correct. In other words, they know that, like, when you get an artist like Alanis Morissette, you have to have a Glenn Ballard type to get these songs moving.
Right.
You know what I mean? She could write the words, but somebody's got to write these pop songs.
So I always get him mixed up with Russ Ballard.
Yeah. Russ Ballard, who wrote the Rainbow Hits and
Right. This is Glenn Ballard. He was the first.
Right, but did Russ Ballard or Glenn Ballard write Magic for America? Because
not Glenn
Russ
Ballard. No.
It's
Russ Ballard, yeah. Okay. Russ Ballard was in the 70s. He had a band. Glenn Ballard's a lot younger.
Yeah.
He's 90s. He was producing,
but, of course, Burt Bacharach is in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Desmond Child is in the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You're interesting. 100 hits, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame.
He wrote some great songs, Desmond Child. I'm going to get his book. And one of the excerpts from his book, you heard the story, right? Where they were how the song "Dude Looks Like a Lady" came about. They were in a bar somewhere, and there was, they only saw the back, and it was, some blonde, and it turned out it was Vince Neil. They thought it was a girl.
Vince Neil.
That's
obviously not nowadays. Vince Neil, who looks like he's pregnant. No,
right.
Back then.
and so upon telling Desmond Child that story, Joe Perry and Steven Tyler, they were going to call the song "Do the Funky Lady," and he's after he heard that story, he goes, no. Desmond Child says you have to call it "Dude Looks Like a Lady."
That's great. And they threw that line in the song. Yeah,
it's
funny because Steven Tyler now looks like that cool mom that lets the kids drink at the house.
Come on in, bring your friends in.
In the Songwriters Hall of Fame, 2024 inductees.
Want to finger me? Oh, sorry. What?
They're in the
Mark,
vote.
come on.
I'm doing the old dirty mother that has the kids over. I'm sorry. What?
I didn't know.
Nothing,
I didn't hear Mark
nothing.
go blue there. What'd you say?
No, don't worry about it.
No,
baby.
say it again. Go ahead, man. Come on.
Bring your friends
Expose
in.
yourself.
We're going to all have a party. Anybody want to finger me?
Oh God.
I had friends with mothers like that, so.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
And I never did it.
Well, anyway, the
Yeah.
2024 inductees into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, Becker and Fagan, Steely Dan. And this is a biggie. Songwriters Hall of Fame, 2024 inductees, REM.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Don't know if they'll, I don't know if there's a ceremony or anything like that. I don't know.
When were REM inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? 2009.
Yeah, pretty much when they reached the eligibility. Yeah.
What was the 82? Oh, they don't count the EP. So when did Murmur come out? 82 or 83?
83, I think.
Okay.
But you have a tremolo bar on your guitar.
I lost it.
I don't call it a tremolo bar. Or do you call it a whammy bar?
I'm from the 80s. Whammy bar.
Whammy bar, Lou. You call it a whammy bar?
I got a wiggle stick.
That's one. Some people call it a wiggle stick. Southerners tend to call it a wiggle stick.
Hey, look at my wiggle stick.
I knew a guy who called it a bozo bar.
You want to touch my bozo bar? Come over here.
Well, when you don't think of the usefulness of it, it's a bozo bar. What does it even do there?
I never used mine. It went somewhere and I lost it.
Wiggle stick. That's a Southern thing.
Hit me with your
well,
wiggle.
Lou, you're a Southerner, man.
I've been a Southern since 2006.
Yep.
Oh my God.
So we were talking about AI recently, right? And Lou, I got to tell you about the legalities of this. Mark, you're not going to like this, but they have these software you can download, right, where AI creates the song for you.
Oh, that's just great.
Right now. And I've seen it done. I watched it, dude. And let me tell you something. So the person who he created the song, he goes, "Who do I want to sing it now?" He scrolls through his software. He goes, "Dean Martin. I'm gonna let Dean Martin sing this song." So now it's a new song that he wrote with Dean Martin singing it, and it's completely legal.
Yeah. Well,
so this is where
off the sweat of honest musicians who work their asses off to create good music. Now we got bozos in bedrooms downloading AI that can just
right. Well, how do they get Dean Martin? Do they take like everybody and just
right? They sampled it, and yeah.
But so I wonder, how do they take the lyrics of a song he sang and mix it up to he's singing other lyrics?
Well, they only have to get the AI can just get the timbre of his voice, or
I wonder if they were kind of.
I heard it. It sounded like Dean Martin singing his song.
Yeah.
So in other words, I wrote the song, and Dean Martin sang it.
Did they get the permission of Dean Martin's estate to use his voice?
Well, there's the legalities which we've been talking about.
I remember a couple weeks ago, I brought up to
Dean
you
Martin
guys,
might be public domain.
Well, I brought up to you guys a couple weeks ago, Tennessee passed that bill that if any AI is used to produce the likeness of a singer, they will be sued. It's against the law. So, now that's a state rule, so I don't know how it applies. But, you get these Chinese and companies from other countries that have this software. How do you go after them? What do you do?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so that's the bad side of AI. That's what I don't like.
On NPR yesterday, and it was like, on all things considered in Asheville. It's just the way I heard it a couple times during the day, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, it's too. It's not human.
No.
But I could tell. I could tell in the first listen that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, you could tell by the inflection.
Asheville.
Right?
What's that?
The inflection.
Yeah,
usually you can tell.
It's almost it's kind of generic announcer, but there's the way certain words are going. The word Asheville was that was the giveaway. That's not right.
Think about it, like what kind of a loser do you have to be to say, I'm going to write it. I just wrote a new song and Dean Martin sang it. Like, you're an idiot.
Well, there you go. Now we're going to have a whole generation of people like that now. They're going to be like, I wrote a Guns N' Roses song. I wrote a Led Zeppelin song.
Axl Rose sang my song. Yeah.
Mark, your mic was going a little AI there.
Really? Do I have to come down to Ash and kick your ass?
Yes, we got a ways to go, guys. Listen.
Check. I mean, I think about I lost my train. We're talking AI.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I forgot. Don't worry about it.
Well, you said you heard one that said Asheville, and you could tell right away.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
I was thinking, maybe the upside of people being able to be partners with Dean Martin, it'll stop them from becoming like a Rupert Pupkin or something.
Well, the only thing I can hope,
you have a cardboard cutout of Dino in your living room, and he's singing your song with you in your piano.
But the only thing I can hope is that maybe this software has to have a license from the Dean Martin estate to use that.
Yeah.
That's cool. As long as the estate is being paid.
Let's do a correlation here. When rap first got big in hip hop, every rap and hip hop artists were sampling every kind of music. Mm-hmm. Eventually, I think it was the Byrds. Someone sampled the Byrds. They got sued. Mm-hmm. They had to pay up. Boom, fix the problem. It's going to happen where either the Frank Sinatra's estate is going to sue. It'll be like the rap sampling. And then all of a sudden, these companies will have to pay, toward the estate.
Well, there's the thing about trademarking these things. Peter Frampton trademarked himself. Really? So now you're trademarking your voice, too. Yeah. So what's going to be the next step legally is to trademark your voice.
And you can laugh. People laugh about it, like, what's he doing? But there's a reason why they're going to do that. Yeah.
There's a new book out.
Wait, hold on. On the way home, I was listening to Carol Miller talking about some band. Maybe it might be the Kiss thing with the hologram concerts. And she was mentioning, she goes, would you go see, her random question to the audience, would you go see a hologram show? And I'm like, no. And she goes, it could be probably cool and creepy. She goes, it probably starts out cool and ends up creepy. But then she mentioned Carl Palmer, what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where at least he's got regenerated
screens. He's got video screens.
Right.
Really,
So I think
people think that's
cool.
Creepy too.
It kind of is, but I mean,
doing duets with dead people.
It is, but at least they're real dead people.
That's true. Lou, when you listen to Carol Miller, doesn't it sound like she has dentures that are falling out all the time?
Yeah.
It's sad. I was in love with Carol Miller back in the day.
Lowest common denominator, man. Mark, always with the lowest common denominator.
Perry, I did not call a certain pop singer. See you next Tuesday on the show.
Well, we're going to get into that too, by the way. Anyway, there's a new Grateful Dead book coming out.
I have to come back in a second.
There's a new Grateful Dead book coming out. It's called Living with the Dead.
Wow.
And there's a story. It's written by Rock Scully, who was their manager.
Uh-huh.
He was their manager from the first time they performed at the Grateful Dead. He was their manager. And he tells the story about when the Grateful Dead had to go into New York City, and Jerry Garcia was supposed to do an interview with Casey Kasem, of all people, right? But it's the kind of so I couldn't, as far as the timeline, I don't know, but they stayed at this Navarro Hotel, which was notorious for musicians, the Stones, the Who, anybody who came, the Kinks, anybody who came to town went to the Navarro Hotel.
Yeah.
Right? Of course, Jerry walks in and to Rock Scully, he goes, "Where's the drugs?" First thing Jerry wanted to know, "Where's the drugs? Who's got the drugs?" So apparently now, Rock, Scully, and Jerry are in the room.
Yeah.
On the 40th floor, by the way. 40th floor.
Uh-huh.
And they hear tapping on the window outside by the air conditioner. And they're like, what? Is it a squirrel? Is it a pigeon banging on the thing? It was Keith Moon.
Holy shit.
40 floors up, walking on a ledge, tapping on the window because he put the bolt on his he locked himself out from the inside of the apartment. In other words, he was inside the apartment, right? and he bolted it, so he couldn't get in. So now he's like, "How do I get? I can't get back into my apartment." So he goes, walks on the ledge over to Jerry, and Jerry's hiding under the desk because they're so stoned.
It's the policeman.
He doesn't know what's going on. So it's Keith Moon, 40 floors up, walking on the ledge.
Can you let me in?
Tapping on Jerry Garcia's window.
Can you let me in? I locked myself out.
And he needed to. They wanted to go out. They wanted to go to Studio 54, but Keith needed his drugs, and he couldn't get back into the apartment because he bolted it from the inside.
I can't go to the Studio 54 because I need my fucking drugs.
Yeah. So he finally got in there, and he found a way in. And
what a crazy time.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, one other thing too. Remember that song by Ringo, "I Am the Greatest," the one John Lennon wrote?
Yeah.
When I was a little boy, way back down in Liverpool, and they told me I was great. That's the only time Ringo, John, and George, Klaus, and Billy Preston were on it. But that was 3 Beatles in the studio at the same time. Only time since the breakup that ever happened.
Right. Now, Paul overdubbed bass on it, right?
No, Klaus Warman played bass on it. Yeah.
Okay. There is I think it's you were 16. Aren't all the Beatles on that? Just
No.
not together. Okay. There's one of those Ringo songs. I think they're all.
I mean,
right.
George was there with doing a John thing, but 3 of them together in the studio at the same time.
Ringo,
was "I Am the Greatest" by Ringo.
Brothers Beatles.
Ringo was definitely the Beatle that had the most Beatles members on his albums.
Yeah.
Right.
Remember that show, The Mod Squad?
Hell yeah, I loved it.
One white,
Remember?
one black, one blonde.
One black, one blonde. The Mod Squad.
One black,
In
one
color.
black, one blonde. You know who Bert Jantz is? That English folk singer.
Yep.
He
Yeah,
wrote
guitarist.
Black Mountainside, and Jimmy Page kind of
Excellent guitar player.
Well, they had an 80th birthday celebration for
He's
Bert
still
Jantz.
alive?
Yeah, 80 years
Oh,
old.
wow.
Robert Plant was there as part of the tribute, and Robert Plant was playing bass.
Wow.
That's Bob Plant on bass. Yeah,
Playing with his fingers.
yeah. I don't know what song they were playing, but that was Bob Plant.
They were playing Jantz Can't Dance.
I was going to say,
Can't dance, but it's
I was
still
going
your
to
money.
say bass Mountainside. Yeah.
And also I read recently in a book. I read it in a book about Frank Sinatra had I don't know, might have been Frank's 80th birthday, and Don Rickles was there, and
boy.
and so was Bob Dylan, Bruce Springsteen, Don Rick, and look at Bob. Don Rickles must have called him something you could guess what he must have said and cracked him up.
Probably insinuated his religious heritage.
Maybe, yeah.
Don Rickles is still alive, isn't he?
No, he's gone. He lived to be an old man though. He was in his 90s. Yeah.
There's was it Mr. Personality? There was a documentary.
I never saw it.
It's hysterical. I mean, the way he comes, he makes his entrance like a doddering old man, and it's almost scary. It's just so,
yeah.
But, his racial humor aside, I mean, the guy was funny. He was a funny guy.
He came from a time when that's he made those jokes, but he wasn't serious. Like he was just making those jokes. My uncle was like that. That was that generation,
It was. I call it like light racism. It wasn't hateful. It was like the Rat Pack. I mean, Sammy was just as much one of them as the other guys, but they had something,
right.
I have a Rat Pack concert on CD, and it's some of the funniest shit I've ever. It beats most of the modern comics, but that's stuff to say.
I gotta tell you,
Comedy's
I
dead,
saw this. We've all seen this movie, Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. I recently saw that. I'm like, that is hilarious. Did you see
great.
When Dewey Cox and his band were in India, meditating with the Maharishi at the same time the Beatles were, and they were bickering with each other. So I created a couple of clips of some of these things. It's like, let's see if this plays. Hopefully it does.
Y'all writes which song?
All the good ones are mine. He does the ones that are shit.
Hilarious. Number 9. Really great.
Ooh, yesterday.
He writes the ones that are, oh, there's no God, I'm a fucking asshole.
And I write the ones that are beautiful and great, and then he will jump in with a yeah. I write songs about peace and love, he writes Studio.
Communism is the best time it come me. This is some.
Keep in mind I wrote Tax Man.
I have a couple more. It's freaking hilarious.
Great.
First off, Jack Black is Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Who's John Lennon?
I have no idea.
I was wondering who George Harrison was.
George Harrison is this kid, Justin. Well, he's not a kid. He's 50 years old.
Justin Long?
Justin Long is
Okay.
George Harrison. The Coppola kid is Ringo.
Okay.
What Coppola?
Talia Shires was his mother. Talia Shires, his mother. I can't remember, but you'll see.
Okay.
Well, let's watch this one here. Hold on.
We used to play those dark clubs in Hamburg. Remember that, Paul?
Of course I do. I booked them. I'm the leader of the Beatles.
I was going to ask you guys. You know, you got the cute one and the dark one. How do you come up with your roles? Who's going to be what?
Just sort of happened naturally. Got the quiet one, the funny one, the dark one, and the cunt.
Oh man!
You know who's who's playing John Lennon? That's Paul Rudd.
That's Paul Rudd. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
And who's Ringo? The one that he's the Coppola.
Jason Schwartzman.
Jason Schwartzman.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
They should
His
do a
mother's
movie on
Talia Shire. I didn't know that.
They should do a mockumentary. Those guys.
That's hysterical. You have another one?
There's one more. It's hilarious. All right, hold on. This cracks me up, man.
Experience a new level of consciousness like we do because we are the Beatles.
Why don't you just let him decide? If he wants to take LSD, he'll take it. He doesn't have to listen to you. You're not the boss of him.
Don't tell me what to say and what not to say, Paul McCartney.
I'm sick of you being so dark when I'm so impish.
Looks like
and
Ringo, man.
I'm sick of it.
Hey, everyone, I've got a brand new mantra. Paul's a big fat cunt. Paul McCartney can suck me balls.
I apologize for his behavior, Maharishi.
Oh, I'm Paul McCartney. I'm a smelly little poof.
I just sit here on the guitar, quietly whimpers.
Well, you are the quiet one, so why don't you shut the fuck up?
I've got a song about an octopus. Jam it up your ass. You're lucky we still let you play drums.
Smelly little poof. Oh my god! Yeah, I saw that once. I forgot how funny that was.
It was hilarious, man. That just cracks me up to no end.
Great comedy. Great comedy.
Paul McCartney's a big fat poof.
I got a song about an octopus.
Have you guys?
We're lucky we still let you play drums.
Really, just stick it up your arse.
They should have put in, if Pete wasn't so bad, you wouldn't be playing the fucking drums.
How about we go into some trivia? You guys up for some trivia?
Sure.
Lou, are you up for some trivia?
Yeah. Okay.
No, you don't. Yeah,
Someone's nervous.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Let's. Okay, trivia. Okay, yeah. Here's the it's color coded. There's a big red T over here for trivia.
Wow.
My mom says I don't have to do trivia because it makes me nervous. I don't have to do it. My mom.
I don't test well.
Well, you know what? Let's do some audio samples first. All right.
You big fat poof.
So this is trivia. It's an intro.
Okay.
Tell me this, man. What song is this, and who is it? The Bangles did a great version of that.
I'm stumped.
That's Big Star. September Girls, there's so much.
Alex Chilton.
Yeah. All right, here's another. This is trivia. Give me this one.
Or Buffalo Springsteen.
What's the name of the song?
For what it's worth.
You are right on, man. That is Buffalo Springfield. Well, of course, it's a Steve Still song, but
that wasn't a with Richie Ferry.
That was Buffalo Springfield. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about this one?
Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, can't remember the song.
Well, what say you?
Fleetwood Mac.
No, you're close enough. That was Buckingham Nicks. Remember, we covered that record a long time
okay.
ago. That was "Don't Let Me Down Again."
And I think when we listened to that, we said that sounds like a Fleetwood Mac song.
Yeah. I think it was Mick Fleetwood on drums, by the way, too.
Yeah. What's that?
I think Mick Fleetwood was playing drums on it.
No, he wasn't on it.
No,
that was studio musicians.
Yeah.
But it sounds like Mick Fleetwood, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Yeah, well, Lindsay got what he wanted.
Yeah.
How about this one?
Born in Pascack Valley Hospital by the Creedence Clearwater Beatles.
What is the name of it?
Born on the Bayou.
Oh,
got
Swamp Rock by Creedence Clearwater Revisited.
Swamp Rock.
The Golly
All right,
Wog.
here's another. Take this one.
CC Wogs. Come on.
Born to Run.
Is it the Wallflowers?
Oh,
that could be in trouble.
Lou?
Positively 4th Street by Bob Dillard.
That is positively 4th Street. At least you knew the name of the song, too. Yep.
Yeah. That song's called "You've Got a Lot of Nerve."
That's
the one where he was, I think he wrote that song about how he was getting badgered by going electric. You all say you're my friends, and just because I picked up a different guitar, suddenly now you give me all the shit, right?
Do you know who played organ on that?
Yeah, we know this. We've covered that many
Who's
times.
on organ on
Al
that?
Cooper.
That's Al Cooper on that one too. Yeah. Okay, all right. Sorry, I thought he only did the other one.
He was at the session, along with.
That's actually playing. He's not just playing a chord. Bing, bing, bing,
how about this one?
You're like a Rolling Stone. Well, yeah, he's playing a lot. Yeah.
Jeff Beck, baby.
Hang on, Lou. What's the name of the song, Mark?
This is called
Heartful of Soul.
Heartful of Soul.
Jeff
Yard
Beck
Turds.
on guitar.
Yeah, the old Jeff Beck. Yep.
Yard Turds.
That's Jeff Beck.
I like
Yard,
that.
Yard Turds.
Here's another one. One more as far as for the intros. But we got more. We got a ways to go. Here go. How about this one? Give me this one.
Money. Is this the Barrett Strong version?
Take it, Lou.
The song is called Money. I think that was
The song
Barrett.
is called Money.
That was the Barrett Strong version, correct?
That was the original version. Barrett Strong.
He wrote
I like
a
the
shit ton
German-
of good songs, man.
Mark, would you have gotten that?
I wouldn't have gotten the artist, but I would have gotten the song. But I like the German version. Money.
Oh, by the Flying Lizards.
Oh, by the Leaping Lizards?
That's what, if the best things in life are free, then you can give them to the birds and bees.
Oh, wait, I'm looking at my thing here. Hold on a second. Hold on.
Turn your camera off.
Ladies and gentlemen, Perry's looking at his thing.
Oh, boy.
Give me this one. Give me this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the A-Team. I got a bad attitude.
Who is that? What is that?
Magnificent
A-Team.
Seven. That's not.
I'll bet you it was written by Mike Post. Was it written by Mike Post?
So what is that?
It's a Western.
A-Team.
It's from the 14th Fist of McClutchy.
That is the A-Team. That is the theme from the A-Team.
I had it.
I've never seen an episode of the A-Team.
I would say confidently that Mike Post wrote that because he wrote a lot of TV
things in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Now,
And he
Perry
also
and I worked
produced
with a
Van
certain
Halen.
individual.
Yes, who used to rush home to catch that show.
And if
Really?
he didn't, he would have a psychotic episode.
Oh, God.
You know what I'm talking about. No names.
All right, here's another TV show
Did I work
theme.
with him too?
I think you did at the Laundromat.
Okay. Oh, boy.
Give me this one.
I got it.
The hell?
Okay.
Is it the Flying Nun? Is it the Flying Nun?
Lou?
I have no clue. Flying Nun.
It's the Flying Nun.
Is it
I
really?
got it.
All right.
It's
Nice.
the Flying Nun.
Remember seeing Sally Field in that nun's outfit? Oh,
What was her name?
Sally Field. Oh, I don't remember.
Sister Patricia.
Sister Patril. Yeah.
Just Sally Field in that.
And there was
habit.
there was another actor named Alejandro something or other was
He was like Julio Iglesias. He was the tobacco-skinned Latin lover.
yes. Okay,
And
here's
the way-
another one.
The way
He's fine
Hollywood
putting
goes
the
back
leather.
then, they probably put oil on them or something.
There's
probably
another
drove it for a
theme.
robot.
Can you guys guess this one?
God.
I'll take a guess. Is it Hill Street Blues?
Mark?
I agree with Lou.
That is Hill Street Blues.
That was a
That
great.
is Hill Street Blues.
That's almost forgotten. That's almost a forgotten show of that era. Am
Yeah.
I wrong?
Yeah. It's one
No,
of the
because
best
it's
pop
not. I mean, it's out there somewhere on the 100 channels that people get. You
Yeah,
know?
but
It's just that nobody picked it up.
It wasn't
to
a St.
show it.
Elsewhere. I mean, it was a pretty. It was a big show in its time. But what are some of the other ones? The other cop shows. The one that was before Cop Rock. What was it? With Denzel Washington was in it.
Well, St. Elsewhere was a hospital.
That was
show.
hospital. What was the other big cop show?
Oh, there were a couple.
It was an ensemble show. Oh man,
Yeah.
Ed Marinaro in it.
Yeah.
Denzel was in it
yeah.
briefly, I think. Not Hill Street Blues.
Uh,
Anyway,
I don't know.
You know what? You got to
The
get
name will be
picked
obvious.
up. If you get picked up by one of these cable channels, like so, we have a cable channel called Pop, and all day they just show ER. Now ER is getting a resurgence because you could sit for 8 hours and binge ER every day. So if Hill Street Blues were to be
Well, yeah.
picked up by one of these cable channels, you'll see a resurgence. Everyone will be like, "Yeah." It's
I
great."
mean, you know, just took a shot in the dark the other day. I was watching Tubi, right?
Yeah.
Shuby.
And I said, I thought of the movie My Favorite Year. I typed it on the Tubi. Like, they have it.
They have it.
Tubi is
Oh,
great.
very cool.
Yeah.
So,
So-
what was Veronica Hamill's nickname for Daniel J. Travanti?
I have no idea. I never really watched
Just
Hill
go
Street
hate
Blues.
pizza, man.
All I know is, you know,
Well,
let's be careful
they used to
out
take the
there.
hot tub. They was in a hot tub together.
Oh, okay.
That's all right.
How about this one?
It wouldn't be an
Travanti.
8 card. It's okay. This is the thing to the cow sills.
See the funky animation.
Here, Axl Rose sing this. Nothing better than being together. When we're singing.
Fuck my stepmother.
That's the old theme. 5 of us and Mom working all day. Because I think they updated it maybe a year or two in. They changed it, didn't they?
What, did one of the kids die?
No, I just think, you know.
did they give her
the
that
show was
lame ass
probably on
little
air
drummer
for
there?
5 years.
They
you
fired
know.
a little drummer and hired Hal Blaine.
I'll tell you what. If
Ruin
I
that
had
little
kids, I
fucker.
wouldn't let Ruben around my kids. Oof.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's cool. I like what, who was the guy's name? Who played Reuben Kincaid?
I don't
Something
know.
Madden.
I don't know the actor's name.
Dave
It's a
Madden.
big-
Yeah, yeah.
But he had the
Big
hairline.
actor.
He could make his eyebrows disappear up of his hairline.
Yeah, he was, you know, he was their Brian Epstein, right?
That's right.
You know what?
Yeah,
He
him and
probably had
Dan-
the
him and Danny
same-
had an interesting relationship, I gotta say.
Oh boy. Well,
He was a
so
mentor. He
David
was a mentor.
Cassidy and Shirley MacLaine had an interesting relationship too.
Oh man,
They had an affair.
Brady Bunch too.
Right?
They're step siblings. Come on.
Gossip, dude,
Oh.
gossip.
No.
No. That's every bass player at Asheville, North Carolina.
You're in trouble.
I'm in big trouble now. I was kidding. I'm not
Well,
kidding.
I have
You
my
know what
mango
that is,
skirt.
right? Everybody knows what that is.
Oh yeah.
Seinfeld.
That's Jerry Steinfeld.
I was going to say King of Queens. I thought it was King of Queens.
All right, I have a couple trivia questions, actually.
That was a joke comment I made about the bass players. They're not allowed.
You didn't get my. By the way, Ruben had the same wig maker, I think, as Richie Blackmore. Right? That was a great wig that Ruben had.
Well, he might have got the same guy as Klugman. Best wig in the business.
Maury's wigs.
That looked like a wig.
Yeah, it did.
No, those guys, Felix and Oscar, wore toupees. They didn't
No,
really.
Felix didn't. I don't think he did.
Really?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
All right.
He looked the same to the end. Yeah.
Here's a trivia question. Which singer-songwriter was born in Roswell, New Mexico? Was it Chris Christopherson, John Denver, or Tom Waits? One of those guys was born in Roswell, New Mexico.
I'll say Christopherson.
I'm going to go with Lou. I'm going to say Christopherson.
John Denver was born in Roswell, New Mexico.
Really?
Yeah.
He was born in Colorado?
Wow.
Liar. He was
He moved there and fell in love with it. You know, it's like somebody moving to North Carolina from another state.
John Denver's mother had a 27-year gestation period because wasn't he born on this? He was born in the summer of his 27th year. He was like that Will Ferrell character, Ned Brogan, that comes out fully formed.
I was going to say, Lou sticks up for his Jersey heritage.
I do.
Okay, here's one. These two actors/singers had hit TV shows, and they also had #1 hit records at the same time. So they were TV show people and singers. Was it Donny Osmond and John Travolta? Was it David Soul and Sean Cassidy? Or was it Glenn Campbell and Cher? They both had TV shows, and they had hit records at the same time, #1 hit records.
David Soul and who's the other one?
Sean Cassidy.
Sean Cassidy.
Mark?
Ditto.
It's David Soul and Sean Cassidy.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
We knew
Soul had that one song.
Don't give up on us, baby. He was also the masked singer on Mike Douglas show. That was weird.
All right, two more questions. What is the first Rolling Stones album after Bill Wyman left? Was it Voodoo Lounge, Bigger Bang, or Emotional Rescue? After Bill Wyman left the band.
Bigger Bang.
Voodoo Lounge.
It is Voodoo Lounge.
Bigger Bang was very late. That was like almost like a recent album. I say recent in the last 15 years, but
okay. The great Perry Como was born in Cannonsburg, Pennsylvania. Another pop star was born in that very same town. Was it Bobby Rydell, Bobby Vinton, or Fabian?
What was the first one?
Born in the same hometown as Perry Como in Western Pennsylvania.
So what were the names again?
Bobby Rydell, Bobby Vinton, or Fabian.
Bobby Vinton.
I'm going to go with Fabian.
It was Bobby Vinton. Druga chico.
I thought he was like from Jersey or something. Wow.
Bobby Vinton bought a champagne. Roses.
And she's still a whore.
All right, here's the last one. Lieutenant Columbo from the TV show Columbo.
My wife.
You know what his first name was? Louis, Frank, or Anthony?
Columbo's first name?
Columbo's first name, yeah. Apparently it was shown once or twice when he held up his badge, and you could actually see the name.
What are the names again?
Louis, Frank, or Anthony?
I'll say Frank.
It's Frank Columbo.
It rolls off the tongue. Louis is a close second to me, but
Frank Columbo. Yep. Oh, by the way,
what?
My wife, you see.
I have the thing on this MMA, but I found this little clip. Bambi meets Godzilla.
I remember this.
Yeah, Bambi meets Godzilla.
This caused a lot of people a lot of consternation back in the day. Like, come on. There's no blood. So
maybe we'll get some comments.
My
AV listening
class.
Audience, that's an old cartoon of a giant Godzilla foot stomping little Barbie. Real quick.
So my AV class in Pascack Valley High School, they would get the films ready.
Yeah.
They put that at the beginning of a science film to be shown in biology. Famously, they got suspended.
You know, it's so funny. I mean, there's nothing real. I mean, think about it. Because people had a problem with it. I think there was Baby, guys, you think you're Bambi? Like, give me a break. Come on. It was a fair fight.
Where's the sense of humor? Right?
It wasn't Bambi's running from Godzilla. It's Bambi versus Godzilla. It's a fight.
Yeah.
There was an act of Congress enacted in 2018 from Senator Orrin Hatch. I believe he was from Utah. And another senator called Bob Goodlatte, Goodlatte. It's called MMA. It's the Music Modernization Act. Has 3 titles, Title 1, 2, and 3. Title 1 changes how streaming services, digital download services, get licenses for their works. So in other words, they were trying to rein in because and this is back in 2018, they knew, like, imagine the beasts that Spotify and Pandora and all these streaming services became. So they're trying to rein this in. Title 2 protects songs pre-1972 because there's a certain period, like a 26-year period or whatever it may be. So now it protects songs that were written before 1972. Interesting about that because it could almost become public domain after a certain amount of time. They have Title 3 now. Title 3 is interesting. Allocations for music producers, mixers, and sound engineers receiving royalties. But the thing is, do you want the government collecting these royalties and then divvying them out to you?
Why not? I trust it more than the music business. Music business is a horrible track record of paying musicians.
Well, here's the thing. They have something called MLC. It's the Mechanical Licensing Collective. So now this is a nonprofit government organization that collects. They collect now royalties from streaming services and things like that, and they collect and distribute the royalties. But here's the thing. This is MLC, Mechanical Licensing Collective, not affiliated with BMI, not affiliated with ASCAP, not affiliated with anything like that, who retrieve. And they also, the MLC, the Mechanical Licensing Collective from the U.S. government, does not pay for performances. So in other words, this is, I don't know, it's a little bit too big government-y, I think.
I'm fine. To me, it's an example of how the government can do good because I know BMI does its service. They do what they have
as
to
far
do.
as ASCAP as well, yeah. Yep.
I want to research this because to me, I'm thinking for Orrin Hatch to sponsor this, there might be a backstory. I don't think BMI or ASCAP they don't screw over anybody.
Well,
they're like musicians union.
Are they going to go after, if they're ferreting out royalties, are they going to audit ASCAP and BMI? That's how they're going to find this? To make sure that you get your royalties through these. You're not getting a check from the government as well as ASCAP or BMI.
They're going after the downloaders.
Okay, the downloaders.
Yeah. The interactive streaming services.
So who's monitoring? But aren't BMI and ASCAP monitoring them now?
That's what I'm thinking. Is they may have had problems monitoring it properly, and there may have been complaints from musicians like, "Hey, we're not getting downloading."
Right. So
it's
it's
an
oversight. You're not going to get a check from the government. You're going to get the government's going to make sure that they're going to put the screws to the streaming services.
Right, and if you're going to complain, you're going to complain to ASCAP. You're going to complain to BMI, whoever's looking after these things for you. And if you're not getting, you're being taken advantage of. Well, maybe now the government will try and
also, with these, because when you deal with software, it could be from any part of the world. It could be a guy in his bedroom in Norway running a huge platform.
It's a basement.
And I wonder if the government in this case would be better to be able to find out that than ASCAP. It may be that BMI and ASCAP asked them to do this. We don't know. I'd like to. It's very interesting. What is it called? What's the act called?
It's called MLC.
I want to re-up. I'm actually interested in it.
It's a Mechanical Licensing Collective.
So is it not so much BMI and ASCAP? It's the record companies. Like, you sign with the record company, so like that's your main funnel. Like I like to see a diagram, like they have mafia family diagrams. Like,
right,
here's the artist, there's the record company. The record company pays the royalties to whoever's.
But the record companies, the record industry is pretty much kaput. Most of the best music that comes out now is independently made.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
you go directly to your publisher. Or yeah.
Because BMI and ASCAP, right, they would get the money, collect those royalties from the record company. But now, how are you going to get it from Spotify?
Yeah.
How are you going to get it from Pandora?
I think it's just people recognizing that the music landscape has changed so much. And I know a lot of people hate big government and all this, but if it's helping the musicians get the money they deserve, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
because this is too much stuff.
Especially since streaming has hurt so many, and we will, like I said, we contribute to it.
It's a big deal. I mean, for Title I, Title II, and Title III, and also like the pre-1972 thing. That's like a lot of Paul McCartney. A lot of people fall into that category.
All those garage bands we mentioned tonight. I wonder why they only went to 72. Is it the 50 years, or it's 52 years? What was about?
Yeah, there's like a 26-year thing, and it's like quite complicated when you look.
Where they excluded those shitty songs of 1974. Like if you're a Seasons in the Sun, you're fucked. You got all the money you're ever going to get out of that.
Right. Yeah, and you don't know the deal they signed either. You don't know what the publishing deal that they signed or anything like that.
The record companies are the ones you can't trust more so than anybody.
Right.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting how, with the streaming services, with all these streaming services, even YouTube, like, boy, they kind of shot themselves in the foot, so to speak, the record company, didn't they? Now, but we don't know the deals they signed with, for instance, with Spotify. Spotify could be in concert with the record companies. You don't know that. In other words, Spotify's paying most of the money to the record company and not the writer and not the performer.
And don't forget that record companies nowadays are hurting, so they're going to try and take more money from the artist than ever before. When I worked in Connecticut, the company that bought CPI, the owner, he was approached by a certain famous jazz musician who had a very big club song called Rocket. I won't say the name. He said, I want to start my own label. And basically they were talking, and it's Herbie Hancock, and he basically said, I hate the record industry more than I hate the bootleggers, because the record industry claims to be legitimate and they're just con jobs. They're criminals. That's what he said.
Yep.
And it's kind of true, but it depends, like I said, like what you guys said. It's when you start, what kind of a contract do you sign? Led Zeppelin were not hurt by Atlantic Records. They signed a good contract.
And you had a gangster. Have a good gangster for a manager.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. And well, there's people like Elliot Roberts, but here's an interesting thing. I this morning, I heard this interview by somebody who is a jazz historian, a jazz aficionado. And this is what he said. He said he went to Spotify. He typed in jazz, right? And this whole list of jazz compositions came up. Now, this is an aficionado. He recognized 2 artists, 2 out of 25 that were on the list. And he's never heard of these other artists before. So he did the research. And he said 12 of those artists were from Sweden. And he's never heard of them before, and Spotify's headquarters is, by the way, in Sweden.
Yeah.
So in other words, Spotify is hiring these people just to create jazz music, paying them a basic flat rate. There's no other thing that's going to, and in other words, like out of a whole thing of jazz, it's these people you've never heard of before.
Right.
And that's kind of the way these people operate.
I'm a total hypocrite, because I'll sit here and I'll rail against the downloading and all that, but I'm a Spotify subscriber. I pay for it. Why? I'm a Miles Davis fanatic, and I cannot possibly keep up with all these reissues that Miles Davis, like, they reissue in a silent way, but all the takes. So it's 8 CDs. I can't keep up with all this, but Spotify has them all. So yeah, I'm a hypocrite. I rail against it, but then I can listen to all the Miles Davis I want to listen to on Spotify. So, it's a good and a bad, but yeah, if you got to be a smart listener if you're going to don't just put in jazz. You got to know who you're looking for.
Right. But this, but oddly enough though, this guy typed in just jazz.
These are Spotify house bands.
Maybe.
Well, you know what? There's a huge jazz scene in that part of Europe, Sweden. There's a guy, Soren Bebe. I can't pronounce his last name. Fantastic. Don't forget that what was the label? ECM Records, which was what Pat Metheny was on, and a bunch of big jazz musicians.
Mm-hmm.
They're from Sweden. That country does have a huge jazz scene with a lot of musicians. But saying that, I agree with you, Perry. I could see Spotify doing that. I really could.
Yeah,
they're so powerful. They're very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not just them. It's all these other, Pandora, iHeartRadio, right? And,
iHeartRadio supports radio, but the bullshit of it is I signed up for their
it's
account.
a streaming service, though.
You listen to radio stations across America, but the problem with that is, I'm going to support radio. So I'm going to listen to a classic rock radio station from Seattle. Guess what? They sound just like whatever we have, Q104 here in New York. They all have the same playlist.
Right.
Radio sucks.
Right, yeah.
They're not going to have FUV on there. They're not going to have WSOU on that on the iHeartRadio,
Right.
They're only going to have the for-profit, commercial stations.
Yeah. Have they had the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction? Like, was Foreigner there? Like, was...
No, that's next year.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
we still don't know who's getting in.
Yeah.
They just had the who's nominated. We don't know
the nominations.
Yet.
The nominees.
So it's going to be a while. Yeah.
Phenomena.
Okay.
Menominee.
Well,
Music
Relish show available on Spotify. Hey, we just talked about Spotify.
We're not leaving yet, are we?
Available on many streaming services like Amazon Music, Amazon Alexa, Google. What was the other one? Overcast, Podchaser, Podcast Addict.
I've chased a few pods in my time.
You sound like Beavis, man. Or is it Butthead? I don't know.
We're not on X.
I've chased a few pods in my time.
We're not on Hulu?
X.
What is that?
That's the former Twitter.
Oh, no. Well, I'm not. I don't
We're not
know
on
about you
Instagram.
guys, but I'm not. No.
We're on TikTok.
Paul McCartney's a big fat poof.
We have 15-second heavily edited segments of the show on TikTok. Bobby Babu Bot. There's that.
I dance and give dating advice.
And she danced like the wave on an ocean, romance. Well, how about we you guys want to close out this episode?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No. We're short a week. I want to play something for you guys. I don't know if you heard it. It's weird, but there's a nice little story behind it. Let me see what I got here.
Happy fish heads in the evening, floating in the soup.
Sounds like Jack Black.
Oh,
eat them up yum.
I like that.
Come over and have some fish heads with me.
Well, there's a video.
That was Billy Mooney, right?
It was the band was called Barnes and Barnes. That came out in 1978. It was Bill Mooney. It was young Will Robinson from Lost in Space, and a high school friend named Robert Hamer. They formed a band right after the run of Lost in Space. It was like 1970. They formed Barnes and Barnes. They did these weird 2-track demos, little funny 8-track videos, just goofy stuff. The video for it, there's a movie for this thing. It's a short movie. It's really weird. It got played on MTV early on.
Yep.
It was from an album called Vubana. So that song got played on the Dr. Demento show. So it's nationally syndicated. And they adopted stage names. So Bill Mooney became Art Barnes. And what's the guy's name? Robert Hamer. Robert Hamer was Artie Barnes. So they created this thing. They were from the fictional country of Lumania. It had its own dialect, all this stuff, but they record these songs on a 4-track Tascam. Perry, sounds familiar? And so Dr. Demento played 2 other songs. There was Fish Heads and a song called Boogie Woogie Amputee. And so they got a little recognition from this. They also did a song. I couldn't find it because my internet went out today. It's called A Day in the Life of Green Acres, where they do the stuff from Green Acres to the music to A Day in the Life. Just like the band did, they sang Gilligan's Island to Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah.
But the movie was directed by a young Bill Paxton.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a weird movie. I've seen it before, and it's about 4 minutes long. It's about the length of the song, and it's weird, kind of like it's like Eraserhead like.
Well, it was a video pretty much before, right? And
it was a song. They were getting played as a song. Then they made a film. I don't know what their association with Bill Mumy was, or with Bill Paxton rather.
It's available. The album is available on Spotify, by the way.
It is. Can you bring up the song "A Day in the Life of Green Acres"?
Holy shit! They have an expanded version. It's huge. Day in the Life. The Vomit Song, When You Die, Linoleum. Something's in the Bag, Cemetery Girls, Suey Hole, Party in My Pants.
Suey Hole.
I Hope She Dies. No, that's not on this.
Barnes and Barnes, A Day in the Life of Green Acres. We got it. Ready?
Yeah.
It's live.
Actually, they have a lot of albums out.
Oh, I'm sure. They started in 1970. Robert Hamer passed away. So now it's just Art Barnes. But they call themselves Art because they made art films. So so this little spoofy thing they did as a result.
Burt Burns, Bang Records.
What was that, Per?
Burt Burns, Bang Records. You were asking who started Bang Records, man.
Oh, yeah.
Burt Burns. Yeah.
Yep. Burt Burns. Burt Burns and Bang Records.
Big Bad Burt, yeah.
Like baked beans with bacon.
Well, anyway, I'd like to acknowledge our listeners and subscribers out there, and thank you all. And this has been Music Relish Show number 68.
Oh, I had sex with Santa, a holiday affair. Yes, I had sex with Santa with his elves and reindeer there.
There's a song called
These guys are fucking great.
There's one called I Had Sex with Pac-Man.
That's the Vomit Song. I don't know. These guys are good.
I wish I was dead.
Party in My Pants.
This was a hit, maybe.
There's a party in my pants and I want you all to come.
Highbrow music. I love it.
Wow, yeah, really.
It's going to be my next highfalutin bottle of wine.
Well,
By
anyway.
the way, second week in a row, it's the second for Music Relish. I did not have Yellowtail tonight. I had Josh wine.
Ah, whoa. Okay.
I went up in the world. Still has a screw cap, though.
I wonder why Barnes and Barnes didn't write a song called Carrot Man.
Or Yellowtail.
Boys,
Well, let's close it out. How about that, guys?
Okay.
All right. Really?
All right.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Lou. Bye, Perry.
What'd you say, Mark?
Bye, Perry. Bye, Lou.
Bye, Mark.
Bye, Larry, Lou, and Poppin' P. Perry.
We are the Music Relish Show.
Music Relish Show, multimedia show. Yep.
We're the Music fucking Relish Show. Don't you forget it.
Yes, thanks to our subscribers. We really appreciate it. The check is in the mail to all of you.
musicrelishshow@gmail.com. Send us an email.
48 volts of phantom power.
Send us a link to
48 volts of fentanyl.
48 volts of phantom power.
Look for the new album by Perry Dedovit coming out soon.
Well, I'm a quarter of the way there.
Quarter? You're a quarter way there?
Quarter. 3 out of 12 are done.
Well, the street can be so unforgiving.
Yeah, you gotta get busy on that, man.
I just stopped laughing the whole time I was trying to. Oh yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna do some recording tomorrow. Got some stuff to do. I'm trying to lay a track down for Louis so he can do some drumming.
Hey, look, it's Mark.
Hey, Nick Nolte.
It's Mark's mugshot.
That was Mark yesterday.
My science teacher would say, I always knew you were going to end up in jail, Mark.
We're called the Music Relish Show.
I gotta take a... Whoa!
There you go.
What's your name? I gotta take a piss.
We're called the Music Relish Show with Ebola the Clown.
I gotta take a piss. Would you guys like to watch me? It's really cool. I'm Jersey Mom.
You sound like the woman from Selma Diamond from that My Favorite Year movie. Hey, I'm in here.
Party in my house. Party at my house.
I'm up to my ass in threads here.
Party in my pants.
Now be careful. He's still recording.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I'm going to say goodnight, guys.
On to his antics.
You going to say goodnight?
I'm going to say goodnight. How about you? You
I'm
guys
gonna
don't
say
want to
goodnight.
go. What's the matter?
We're sad. This is like the only,
Well, all right. So Lou wasn't there last week. So Lou, come on, man, take over. Take over. Give us a friggin' monologue or something.
I have to face my life now.
Me too. It sucks. It's like when you come off tour and you go home and you don't know what to do with yourself.
I got this come down, man. I got this crash. Okay.
It's would you have like a bunch of sugar and now you're coming down?
That's right. I had a bunch of Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries on my little break there.
Oh, how about, remember that? Remember that store? Look at that. Westwood Music Merchant. Yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace, John Schlapak.
Yeah. Yep.
Biggest grump in the world, and we loved him.
He was a curmudgeon, wasn't he?
Oh, he was. But he loved rock
you know
and roll.
what though? I remember I was in the guy's store and he's playing on vinyl a Genesis record. England by the Pound.
Selling England by
the Pound. I'm like, what? And he told me it was that, and it sounded great.
Yeah.
They're
really records good.
You know how I discovered John? And
They
Lou,
had a great stereo system, though.
You might relate to this. Remember Town and Country, Lou?
Oh yeah,
you know Lou.
Yeah.
So I was going there. That's where I bought my first albums. And then one day I went in, and I'm looking through the albums, and the guy at the register said, "You might want to go to the new store down the street. It's a lot better than us."
Wow.
I go, "Really?" And it was like, "Yeah, they just opened this week." So the next day, I got money from my newspaper route, and I went to Music Merchant. I was there the first week they were open, and it was like a million times better because it wasn't musical instruments, it wasn't video games, it was just records.
Yeah.
But the first day I go in there, John was yelling at everybody. He was just like getting nasty with the customers.
Well,
that's what I loved about him.
He had to. I mean, he was a cool guy, had a lot of cool stuff, but he had to have the Bon Jovi records too for the schmoes that wanted the Bon Jovi record. He had to carry that too.
So when Sam Goody was in the Kmart Plaza over there, and they were always trying to get him closed down, and he got in trouble. He put up some Madonna poster and he rigged something to it, and they reported him to the record label. They were always trying to put him out of business. I remember you telling that
story one time.
Guess what? They closed down and he survived. Yeah. He survived. He beat Sam Goody.
Yeah. And like I said, I've been to the store. If he was good with the internet, he found me stuff over the internet that, he didn't have it in the shop, but he'd find it for me.
Yeah. I remember I said to you, Perry, I'm looking for Xanadu, the soundtrack, ELO, and I can't find it. And you said, let's go to Schlepek. You told him, he ordered it for me from the internet. That's when it was only available in Europe.
Yeah, right. But, I don't know what's going to happen with the store. Maybe there's going to be a big closeout thing. You might be able to get a reel-to-reel player there.
I was going to say, if it happened, it already happened. We should kind of case it, maybe.
You don't know. I mean, how do you know?
Who else is going to run it? Who's that?
It's one of those garage rock songs.
Yeah.
Music Machine Talk Talk.
Oh. What year was that around, roughly?
66.
That's way ahead of its time.
How do you figure?
A lot of those garage bands were way ahead of their time with some of their song structures and the
It's
sound.
almost psychedelic. I mean, there was weird guitar breaks. According to Bill Kelly, I think 1966 that's the year for garage rock. That's the peak.
Yeah,
That's become British Invasion stuff going into that, and then before I went to psychedelia and things like that.
Yeah,
it was a fun show today.
You got that Schmidt for brains?
Yeah, I do. Perry Pooligan.
Perry Pilsner.
Perry Pilsner.
Perry Pilsner, Louis Lager, and Mark Malt Liquor. Schmidt
Malt
for
liquor.
brains.
It's Louis IPA tonight.
Louis
Malt
IPA. What does IPA stand for? India Pale Ale?
India Pale Ale. You are correct.
Yep.
Sir.
I love it.
It was hopped up as a preservative to make the sea voyage to other
All
lands.
right. Well,
That's
you know
interesting.
what?
Didn't know that.
We'll be
My
back.
uncle does two shots of Jack Daniels and 2 India Pale Ales every night.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's 74.
Mr. John Daniels. Hoo-ha.
Okay. Well, we'll see you next time on the Music Relish
I'll
show.
try not to be
Nice
so
AI
disgusting
ending.
next week. I'll try.
Keep it out of the gutter, Mark. Yeah, I know it's tough for you, but try.
I need it bad
Try.
from the high school.
Paul McCartney's a big fat poof.
It's big
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.